Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. Are you ready to live an inspired and empowered life? We are live Tuesdays mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern on Talk4 TV, W4WN.com, and my YouTube channel. And today we are going to be talking about Emotional Intelligence 101. And emotional intelligence is essential to live an inspired and empowered life. And during the show, you'll learn 3 principles of emotional intelligence, how having emotional intelligence changes your life, and discover the number 1 mistake that would keep you from a life you love. Together, let's create a life you love. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive breakthrough expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform your life. This show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. So, what I really want to hear is how, because last week, now this is part of emotional intelligence, is learning how to change your feelings or allow or let go of feelings like fear or anger, grief, shame, guilt, so that you open to joy and fun and play and peace and gratitude. And so last week's show, we were talking about all different things to have fun. So I would love to hear anybody that was here last week, what you did for fun or play. And getting into emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to process your feelings in a healthy way rather than reacting and by dysfunctional or destructive ways. And Country Corners Gazette says, went for a barefoot walk on the beach. Oh, I love it. See, that sounds like a great idea. And I bet when you did that, it definitely helped shift your emotions. And that's what we're talking about. What you can do to have that emotional intelligence and shift your emotions from those that I mentioned earlier, which is the fear, the anger, grief, guilt, shame. And remember, those emotions are actually the main 5 of emotions you are working on to let go and release. And then that includes all the other emotions underneath, except for the emotions of happy and glad and joy and peace and fun and play and gratitude. So those are the emotions that you are looking for. So, and there are 5 components of emotional intelligence that I'm going to talk about and share today. And this comes from a blog called from online, thinkpsych.com, and it's the 5 components of emotional intelligence. And it is written by Aria Palmer in April of 2021. So the first emotion, like the first aspect, this first part of emotional intelligence, and I talk about this all the time, is self-awareness. Because without the self-awareness, you cannot even know or recognize what you're feeling. And so it's really important to have that self-awareness. And the way that Aria defines it is the understanding of one's emotions, thoughts, and intentions. One is self-aware when they can pinpoint what they are feeling and why. So everything is all part, everything that I teach you and I talk about is all part of emotional intelligence. And then Mickey said, I rode my bike. Yay, Mickey. And I bet when you rode your bike, it felt freeing and fun. Or you could tell me, what were the emotions? So what I'd like to hear are, what were the emotions, Country Corners Gazette, when you went to the beach that you were feeling? And Mickey, tell me what you felt when you rode your bike. I'd love to hear, because that's all part of emotional intelligence. So really, emotional intelligence is being able to identify your feelings and what's creating those feelings. Now, Misty says, I went on a nature trail walk. Again, she went on a nature trail walk. So what did you feel? So all of you that did the exercises and the activities, first of all, I really want to acknowledge you, those of you who told me what you were, what you did, and those of you who may be listening to the podcast. I would love to hear. You can always let me know on Facebook or YouTube, on iHeart. I would love to know how you felt. And I also want to acknowledge you and all of you for taking action. Taking action. Country Corners Gazette said, I didn't really think about things. I just lived in the moment. Well, that's really what it's about. See, you don't want to be thinking. Ideally, what you want to be is present in the moment. So you were right on target. And perhaps you weren't like thinking about your feelings. You were actually feeling it. So were you feeling, and this is for all of you, whether you're typing into the chat or not, and this is about the self-awareness. The self-awareness is becoming aware of what you're feeling in the moment. In the moment. And so for those of you who did a fun activity or play or did something to take care of yourself, were you feeling joy? Were you feeling peace? Were you being present and in a state of really just being present And perhaps in that state of presence, to become aware of what you were feeling. Perhaps it was peace. Perhaps it was contentment or satisfaction or freedom or joy. Those are all feelings to become aware of. So Mickey says, I looked around and remember how riding my bike as a kid was like. So you looked around and remember what on some level, riding your bike must have felt good to you as a kid, because that was something that you related to fun and play, and it was something you went back to. So having that awareness that you were being in that place of presence, of enjoying riding your bike. And Misty says, I just enjoyed the nature and fresh air. So all of you were being present to the experience you were having, which is excellent. And then to take it a step further is to notice, what's the feeling? Was there a sense of peace or joy? Because if you're enjoying something, you may be feeling enjoyment, joy. So just becoming even more aware and starting to notice the feelings that you're feeling in the moment. And again, I want to acknowledge all of you that took action, that went out and took care of yourself and went to something that felt good as a kid, like riding your bike or walking on the beach. Or this is coming to me, when I was a kid, I used to play in the sand. How many of you did sand castles? Maybe you're still doing them. That's good. So all of that is more awareness and enjoying the present moment. So emotional intelligence is being able to become aware of what you're feeling in the present moment and why. Now, if you're enjoying the moment, the why is you're allowing yourself to give you something to give you pleasure, or you intentionally went for fun or play or peace, the things that you knew would move you towards that. That's emotional intelligence. By you taking the actions that you took, you were moving towards more emotional intelligence by allowing yourself to have pleasant feelings. And I'm going to talk more about other pieces as we go on. So, and then it talks about the why of emotional intelligence. So, let me give my quick Psych 101 so we're all on the same page. You have your conscious mind, and your conscious mind makes decisions that empowers you. So first of all, I want to acknowledge all of you that if you're listening or viewing live, thank you for being here and making that conscious decision. Listening to the podcast, thank you for making that conscious decision. Those of you who took action to go to the beach, ride your bike, go out in nature and fresh air, congratulations, you used your conscious mind, which empowered you. Now, your subconscious mind is the part of you from the moment you were conceived to present time. It has recorded every moment that you have been alive. And also included in your subconscious mind are past lives and ancestral information. And that could be trauma, could be genetics, like your eyes are blue or brown or green, and how tall, how short, how all the different things that makes up. That's all part of your body and your DNA, and your body is actually part of your subconscious mind. And your body gives you clues to what you're feeling by the sensations or the feelings that are happening when you start paying attention. Again, this is all self-awareness. And you start paying attention to what's happening in your body and what you're aware of in the present moment. So, when you start being aware, like let's say you're having a conversation with someone and they said something or did something that really triggered you. And when I talk about triggers, I mean emotional reactions. And so the why is, let's say, I'll give you an example. So, I have a friend, I'll call her, today I'm going to call her June. And there's a certain tone in her voice. And when she says something in a certain tone, I can feel myself getting triggered. I feel myself reacting, and I get usually angry. And I can feel that anger. Okay, so I'm talking to June, we're having a pleasant conversation, and then she says something that really triggers me. It's a certain way she says it, or a certain tone in her voice, something that really pisses me off. Let's just call it what it is. Now, having emotional intelligence, it's for me being aware, oh, I'm reacting right now. She's triggering me. Now, there are times where I can breathe and say, okay, she's triggering me. There's a reason why she's triggering me. And now I'm part of learning. Remember, I want you all to remember that emotional intelligence is a journey. It's not a destination, because we're always on the journey of getting more and more emotionally intelligent and learning more about our feelings, thoughts, and how they interact and what's going on and how you get triggered. So June, when she has a certain tone of voice, usually there's like this angry or accusatory, or sometimes she questions me and I feel like I'm getting interrogated. And I don't like that. And so I can react. Now, when I'm in an intelligent mode, and I breathe, and I am able to say, I'm really uncomfortable with the way that you're speaking to me or what you just said right now. That would be a healthy emotional intelligence response. And now when I'm reacting and I'm not being emotionally intelligent, I snap back at her and I'm laughing, but I'm trying to teach you a point, and I'm not perfect. I'm human, so I'm sharing that I'm human. And Misty says the key to catch the emotions before reacting. Yes, the key is to work on catching the emotions before you react. So sometimes if something's happening in the moment, taking a breath, breathing, noticing what you're feeling before you react. So when I'm totally triggered and I totally go into reaction, usually, and this is why I coach people, it doesn't end well. We usually can get into a little spat, and then we can talk it through. That's what I really want to say, is that even if you react and you then talk to your friend or partner or person, whoever it is, and you go back and you process and you express, that's a healthy relationship. So, no, like my friend June and I were able to process and talk about it and express. And hopefully things start shifting. And I will tell you that as I shared more and more about what I react to, she definitely has shifted, but sometimes we both get in reaction. And then this is a journey. In relationships, you're in a journey. Now, if it's a situation that you're reacting to, like health issue, or it could be a financial issue, or maybe it's a relationship issue and you're not even dealing with the person in the moment. Maybe there's an issue with a parent or a child, and you're having a reaction even though they're not present. Something's going on for you. You're reacting. Now, the why is understanding what has been triggered. So instead of saying why, I'm going to support you in asking, what's being triggered for me? What am I reacting to? So, for me, June definitely triggers my mother. My mother would have a certain tone in her voice. I also shared that my mother was a rager, but June doesn't rage, but she has that energy, that angry tone that I react to easily. But there are times where, I'm able to be really emotionally intelligent, working on practicing what I teach. And again, we're all works in progress. It's all part of the journey. So the why is really the what. What is it that what is triggering you? Now, remember, I've talked about Jenny and Jimmy. Jenny would get triggered by Jimmy because of his rage, and Jimmy was triggering Jenny's, like Jenny got triggered by Jimmy because not only the rage in the moment and she was shut down, but it reminded her of her father. And Jimmy, the rage, he would react to Jenny because she reminded him of his mother. And that often happens in relationships. And your subconscious, you get drawn to people that very often can trigger you. And this is all. But the most important thing I want you all to remember is that it's about the journey of healing. And being in the journey. And allowing yourself to be in that journey so that you keep healing and working on yourself. That's the most important. So, the journey of healing. And part of that healing journey is being able to make decisions from that place of calm. A place where you're not in reaction. You do not want to make a decision from a place of reacting, emotional reaction. If you're emotionally reacting, wait on any decisions until you can calm yourself down and be in a more peaceful place. And then you want to ask, what can you do? Like if you have a decision to make, to ask for guidance. And then I'll get to the question in a second. Actually, I'm going to continue to talk about this, and Misty, I will get to your question after I share what I'm about to share. So you want to be able to connect with your intuition to help you make those decisions and to really support you in being able to do that. And so I created a meditation and a written version so that if you don't do meditations, you can download the written version and just get the PDF. That will help you move through how to make your best decisions. So go to the link, inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation. MEDITATION. inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation. And you can download the meditation and it will guide you, whether you're using the PDF or the meditation version that you can listen to. It will guide you through how to make your best intelligent decisions. So, go for it. And Rebel, can you put the link in the chats? Thank you. All right. Now, let's get back to Misty's question. Okay. So Misty asks, do you feel people gravitate to the energy they are familiar with? Okay. So, yes, I will say that. Because what happens is, in the first few seconds of connecting with somebody, meeting somebody, and this is all an unconscious, subconscious experience, process. Within the first few seconds, you know if somebody is a match for you in terms of triggering those patterns, and really what you're really looking for on a subconscious level is to have your needs met. And so you are drawn to people with familiar energy that you've experienced before. So it may be like a parent or a parent figure, a mother, father, caretaker. It could be like a sibling. And you are drawn to that familiar energy. Now, when you get more emotionally intelligent, if you have been drawn to people that are toxic or that are unhealthy, dysfunctional in the past, as you get more emotional intelligent, you can start making those decisions. Is this a person you want to get to know better? Is this a person that you feel the relationship can grow? And you make those decisions from an emotionally healthy place. Healthy decisions. And you may not know it in the first few seconds of meeting somebody, but you may notice in the conversation, your initial conversation, Or it may take a few times to connect with this person, and you start noticing certain patterns or behaviors that don't feel right anymore. Because as you get emotionally intelligent, people in your life might either fall away, or you may not choose to be friends with them anymore. You may not choose that you want to be around them anymore. Because it doesn't, let's say you have somebody in your life and you find that whenever you're with them, it doesn't feel good anymore. There's, maybe they're just, they make jokes at your expense. Or they're not hearing you or listening to you. You feel like you're not getting your needs met at all. And then you need to assess, is this person somebody you even want to continue to be in connection with? Now, if the person can hear you and you have a healthy conversation and you're able to communicate your feelings in healthy ways, and that person cares and wants to work on changing themselves or changing their behavior so that you can have a better relationship. Like, for example, my friend June and I, we react to each other. We can react to each other, but we're able to process it and talk about it, and we work on changing our behaviors so that we're not constantly triggering the other person. And so our relationship is healthier. And that's part of being able to have those healthier relationships. And having that self-awareness is crucial to be able to understand what's being triggered, what are you feeling, and what is creating the trigger or the reaction, the emotional reaction. So that's the first component. The second component is self-regulation. So I started mentioning it last week, and I'm going to read what Aria said. Self-regulation is the capacity to manage one's behavior in various environments. One is managing themselves well when they avoid being overtaken by emotion and making poor choices. So, for example, going back to the situation that I just talked about, you meet someone, could be anywhere, could be a new person at work, could be someone you met in a networking meeting, it could be someone you met at a grocery store. I mean, it could be anywhere. And you feel drawn to them, and then they start talking, and you notice that maybe you're getting triggered, and it doesn't only have to be anger. I mean, people can trigger you, fear, people who are bullies or intimidators, and they prey on people that will be fearful of them. But if you're emotionally intelligent and you know that this is their thing, you don't have to react. And you stay in that place of self-regulation where you're able to maintain your cool and calm and not react. Guess who will probably react? Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, a bully wants a reaction. And there are adult bullies. So let's say you meet somebody and you notice that you're having an emotional reaction. And let's say you notice they say something And then you say something back, and they keep talking, and they're talking over you. They're not hearing you. And you start getting really annoyed, like, hello, you hearing me? I mean, this is the first conversation you're having with this person. But you're emotionally intelligent, so you're not reacting. And you're saying, you know what? Is this somebody I really want to be connected with? If they can't even hear me or ask me questions in the first conversation, what is a relationship going to be like? And from an emotionally intelligent, regulated space, I'm using a lot of big words, but having that emotional regulation, self-regulation, you notice that you could get annoyed. Maybe you do get annoyed, but you bring yourself back to center because it ain't worth it. And you say, you know what? Nice to meet you. Bye. Like, let's say you're at a networking meeting. You don't have to hang out with them. Now, if it's somebody that you know that you'll see more, you can excuse yourself when you feel you're ready. As soon as you're ready. So that would be an example of how you would use self-regulation. Another example is, let's say you're at work. I talked about this last week, and you start feeling, you get really triggered, either angry or sad or scared. But you don't want to have an emotional reaction at work. So you breathe and you learn how to do the coping skills. See, emotional intelligence is learning new and healthy coping skills that will support you having that self-regulation, the emotional regulation, to calm yourself down if you start feeling emotionally activated. So I know the question came in from Country Corners Gazette. Are there things we can practice to become more emotionally aware? Yes, good question. Well, they're all good questions. So, I love all questions. I love questions. So, first of all, breathing and becoming present. So, learning to become present, like when those of you who were doing your activities last week, you were in the moment. You were present with what was happening. Now, to take that level of presence and begin to breathe and just notice, what am I feeling? You can even ask yourself that. What am I feeling in this moment? Now, if you're doing the pleasurable activities, more than likely it may be peace or joyful. You're having fun or playing, or you're feeling joy. You're feeling happy. Those are feelings. Now, if you are in an experience where you get triggered or emotionally activated and you're reacting, it's learning to, okay, that person just said something. Like, let's say the person that just talked over you and didn't really hear what you said. That could trigger an emotional reaction. I'm not being heard. That leads me to feeling annoyed or angry. So in that moment, and it's learning to take a breath and breathe and notice. One of the big ways that you can notice what you're feeling is by your body. Remember I said your body it's connected with your subconscious mind. So you may not be aware what you're feeling in the moment, but you're having an emotional reaction and you're not sure what you're feeling. But you can know by the sensations or body movements. Like, for example, let's say you're talking to somebody or you're watching something, and all of a sudden you start feeling sensations in your eyes, like you want to cry. I've had many clients say to me, I feel like I want to cry right now. So they know, and the feeling connected with wanting to cry is usually sadness. And if it's more intense, it becomes grief. But grief is also a whole step process unto itself. But usually, so you may feel sensations in your eyes. Or if you are feeling angry, you may feel agitated or antsy, or you feel frustrated. You can feel that energy. Anger, usually you feel it through your whole body. Although a lot of people hold anger and stress in their jaw. So if you happen to have a tight jaw, or another place a lot of people hold anger or stress is shoulders. How many of you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? So those are all ways. It's becoming aware of the sensations in your body to begin to start becoming aware of the emotion that you're feeling in the moment. So hopefully Country Corners, that helped you with more. And we'll talk more. Okay, so I see you asked that question, and what I'm going to do, because I want to answer that question with a lot more information, okay? And we're coming to the end of today's show. So, next week, I will get to your question, and we'll talk more about Emotional Intelligence 101. It'll be part 2, so stay tuned for the answer to your question and more emotional intelligence next week. And we will continue Emotional Intelligence 101 Part 2. And join us at 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel. And you can hear the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and Amazon, and many more. And I want to wish you all an inspired and empowered week and an inspired and empowered day. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.